Seconds out, then. Round one.
Looking forward to seeing what Laura Payne can do. Part of the Team GB setup once upon a time. So plenty of skills and a good amateur background to call upon as well. But a fresh start for her, new team, and also a new opportunity getting in front of the TV cameras as well. So opportunity knocks, Andy.
It definitely does. And just looking at the early stages here, I think Achieng is going to let her hands go when she gets the opportunity, as she does there, looking to come forward. And I think that will suit Payne because, as you say, her technical skill level is high with that amateur background, and having someone who's willing to have a go, I think, will suit her.
Yeah, she did look to come ahead, but in doing so, she got clipped. I think she was getting a bit. One of her straps was slightly coming undone, so she was slightly disconcerted by that. And actually, that's what they're going to have a quick look at. So they're going to just tighten that up. Not quite Polly Malignaggi dreadlocks, but remember that, Andy?
I do.
Was that at Main Road? Was it? Or was it? Was it Main Road? The old Main Road?
City of Manchester Stadium.
The new City of Manchester Stadium.
As it was called then. It's good that the referees got on top of that nice and quick, though, because things like that can be really irritating if they keep happening.
There were a couple of shots in that first skirmish, though, that definitely landed from Payne. Living up to her name, perhaps, in that moment. But that's the good news for all the sort of young women who are coming through now, whether it's through the amateur system or just coming into professional boxing, is there's so many that have been ahead of them and are ahead of them, showing the way, so they know it can be done. And that can only help but be an inspiration as well as a dream giver. Lovely clubbing right hands. That just caused a moment of pause from Achieng, who just was immediately on the back foot. Her arm shots are slightly long arm shots, long-armed, slightly round, so there are gaps straight through the middle for Payne if she can find those gaps.
So that's a good first round for her. Just picking up on what you were talking about there, about how there are so many fighters to look at if you're coming through now. You're absolutely right about that. The one area where I think it'd be great if someone really made a mark would be if somebody who didn't have an elite level international amateur background or an Olympic background really planted a flag. Because Amanda Serrano's kind of the only one, isn't she, really? When you look at the very top end of the sport, pretty much everybody else has been through that system. There have been some really good Argentinian fighters we've seen over the last few years who didn't necessarily do that. But I think someone who's come through that different
corners, 10 seconds.
That harder road, some describe it as, although there's nothing easy about elite international
seconds out.
Amateur boxing.
Round
I think
two.
that'd be really, really interesting to see. That could get even more down to the gym, I think.
She looks like a coiled spring, Laura Payne, doesn't she? Fighting out of a crouch, just ready to explode into action when she finds the right distance. And Achieng looks sort of loose and languid, but maybe the gaps will be there. And now Payne, let her your hands go. Quick flurry.
Achieng's got that kind of look about her, whereby you feel if you can hit her clean, really nail her clean, that she might come apart. But I think that's just her kind of natural balance is inclined to make her look quite clumsy at times. But she's got that kind of rubberiness about her that I think allows her to soak up punches a bit better than it might look like she will. And I'd just like to see Payne just be busier here, to be honest. Just get into distance and just punch. But don't be reckless, but at the same time, just look to put it on her. You get the feeling that she's kind of looking for the perfect shot almost at the minute.
Well, certainly into the second part of the second round. You feel she could be the boss if she wants to be. And as kind of commanding as she wants to be. Lovely right hand to the body. And now she goes upstairs, having created that diversion. Set it up. So that's nice work from Payne.
Oh, she looks good. She looks good, and she's completely in control here. And when you are completely in control, the only way it can really go wrong is if you do something stupid. So it's a bit of a balance to strike. But like you've been saying, there definitely are gaps there, aren't there? But rather than just wait for the perfect gap and then throw the perfect shot, just get amongst it.
Landed one right on the bell there. Another clubbing right hand. So she's getting through with some meaty shots here. She really does speed into those attacks, doesn't she?
Corners, 10 seconds.
Just keeping an eye on Achieng in the other corner there. Body language seems fine.
Seconds out. Round 3.
You can hear Will Jones in the other corner asking her to work the jab, and that would just allow her to then step in behind the right hand, which has been so effective for her so far.
Achieng just stepping forward, looking to let her own hands go there, and she does offer some kind of a threat because she commits to those punches. As you said, a lot of them are kind of arm punches, but she steps in and she's not afraid to have a go. I was just looking at the schedule actually, and there's a fight here on Friday night that I'm sure she'll be really interested in, Laura Payne. It's the British super flyweight title, Emma Dolan and Lauren Parker. That's a good fight. I've seen Lauren Parker quite a lot over the last few years. She's been a bit more stop-start than she would have liked, but she's a good fighter. Dolan won that title, so that's one to look out for, and I'm sure she would have her eyes firmly on the winner.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's in this very ring. In a week's time, or under a week's time. And of course Chloe Watson in around these weights lost the European title against Yasmina Zapolcina just the other week, wasn't it, down at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, that was a good fight. That was a really good fight.
It was a terrific fight. So those are some of the names that Laura Payne will kind of have in her vision, have in her head, should she come out on top of this one.
And that was a nice
over the next
combination there.
year or so.
And it's good, that, isn't it? Good left hand there from Payne, and maybe just getting on top of Achieng here, who in typical fashion comes firing back. But there's a lot happening in her weight division, which is really good for her.
Yeah, in any stage of her career, in whatever the sex and whatever the weight. Great credit to Achieng. I mean, it's not much guile, but she is having a lash, isn't she? When she's been under pressure, she caught. I thought that left hand looked quite destructive. I thought that might just be a kind of fight turner, and she came right back. Fair play to her.
No, that's obviously her natural instinct, isn't it? To come back firing. It can sometimes be your undoing, but I'm with you there, because it was right above us, and she caught that left hand solid. She was kind of moving onto it, and it stopped her in her tracks, but she immediately just came firing back. But she's getting there, Payne, landing more and more round by round, heading into the second half.
Corners,
she can keep this
10
tempo
seconds.
nice and high. She's just got a little bit looser, I think, as well as the fight's gone on.
Seconds out. Round 4.
I don't know if you caught that. I didn't hear that. That was up in the neutral corner right above us.
I took the cans off too late, Andy. Yeah, I missed it. But We'll see how that one pans out, and if there's going to be any kind of change in the play.
I'm not quite sure what that would have been about, really, because it's been a pretty clean fight, I think.
Well, it's a fourth round, fourth visit also to York Hall for Laura Payne, so there's not been that kind of new sensation for her. It's just maybe the fact that she's fighting in front of the cameras on a bigger show.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you look at her record? Her first 3 fights were in Serbia, Czech Republic and Germany, and that kind of thing always piques my interest. I mean, what happened there for you to make your pro debut in Serbia, when you would have thought it would be easier to get a fight here, but all sorts of things happen in boxing.
Yeah, well, it just shows you if you've not got the backing. You don't have, we've got Kevin Ajako coming up, who's, no longer got the backing of a big promoter, and he's looking for any opportunity. He's a guy who's got a world ranking. So sometimes you just got to go wherever you've got to go, and if that's abroad, young woman without any kind of support, but that's changed for Laura Payne now, and now she's got the opportunity to catapult herself and her career forward. Be difficult to pin Achieng down in this round. I think Achieng's decided that left hand you talked about, Andy, that clubbing left hook really stopped her in her tracks, and I think that's forced a change in policy from Achieng. It's move and not get hit, I think, and maybe that's from here on in. So it's up to Laura Payne now to close the gap and force it, if not a rethink, then a stop in the play.
Yeah, I think you're right. But throughout the course of that 2 minutes, Achieng spent most of the time just kind of rotating around the outer clock face, didn't she? And she'd shift the direction that she was moving in from time to time, but she was looking to stay away, I think.
And by the way, if you're in the away corner, you got to do what you got to do.
There's no need to be a hero, is there?
Why get hurt if you... Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if Achieng's going to box like this now, it's up to Laura Payne now to quicken those feet, to cut down the ring, to find the angles. She's going to use all of those tricks that she learned in the amateurs.
Seconds. Seconds out. Round 5.
Because there's no doubt when she gets close to Achieng is hittable. And she's already shown she's hurtable too with that terrific left hook in the third.
Little feint there from Payne, but Achieng doesn't bite on it. She needs to be as clever about it as she can, but she might just need to try and swarm Achieng a little bit here.
Oh, that's a terrific body shot. As Achieng was trying to jab and move off, she countered immediately with a terrific, solid, meaty right hand to the body. Achieng's going to try and jab move now. I think that's her ploy. To be fair to Achieng, that's probably not a bad idea. She's boxing better now than she has at any other stage.
And she's got long levers, so when she looks to try and use that jab and throw a long right hand like she did there, she can be quite effective in keeping you at bay. Good right hand into the body there.
Yeah. So we've seen a bit of everything from Achieng. I mean, that kind of the boxing move tactics feels a bit more like just please keep away from me, please don't hurt me. That was a left hook, and another one from Laura Payne. High guard press and finding the angles, finding the shots. And again, that's been her punch of the night, last couple of rounds.
But it's interesting when you see Achieng get hit, because sometimes she gives a bit of ground and she looks clumsy, and it looks like her legs might be about to go, like they might be stiffening a bit, but I think that's just the way she stands, the way that she carries herself. So I think it's quite easy to land one on her and feel like she's hurt when actually she's probably not.
Yeah, she's shown quite a bit, hasn't she? There's been a bit of resilience, a lot of resilience. Been a little bit of boxing on the back foot, though defensively, and then almost a bit of angry retaliation there. But through all of it, Laura Payne is winning the rounds and landing the big shots. And that's Will Jones, who's in the corner for the first time in the pro career of Laura Payne. And
Seconds out. Round 6.
That seems to be down at the elite gym with Will Jones and his team. Seems to be something happening there. There's a bit of a vibe.
Yeah, I think so. It's not far from me, actually. I've been down there a couple of times, and there's a good buzz about the place. Like you say, he's had some good pros through there, some good experience, and he attracts decent fighters, and I think that tells you most of what you need to know. I remember seeing him in Saudi last June when he was in the corner for Dimitri Bivol's opponent. It wasn't the easiest week of his life, I don't think, but he's a trainer with some good experience now.
Here we go into the round 6 then. Of course, Laura Payne has been 6 rounds before a few times, but this one's scheduled for 8, so about to maybe step into uncharted territory, unless she can land another few of those big left hooks, which have been significant in the last 2 rounds. Well, that was a good clipping shot, wasn't it? Achieng was trying to throw her own shots. I thought she almost spun around with that one. Didn't quite time it. Big dog lover, Laura Payne. I tell you what, I wouldn't mind feeding myself what she feeds her dogs. The high quality diet that lot is on, I can tell you.
And that's the shot she goes for, that right hand, where she's looking to try and find a home for it round the back of the guard, that right hook, and she sets herself and really puts plenty into it. But it's the kind of punch I think that an opponent can see coming. You have to try and dress that up a bit more than she does, I would say. The sheer physical effort that she puts into it.
Another good body shot. She's been sort of unorthodox and ungainly, Achieng. I don't know if that's making things slightly more difficult. It feels like it should be easier, but I don't think it's that straightforward.
I think she's probably quite hard to read, because you feel like you're going to see what she does coming as well, but she doesn't necessarily always do it the same way. And I think she really does take a good shot. I think that's something we can say about it.
But not really at any stage has Nicholine Achieng troubled Laura Payne. It's more Laura Payne trying to work it out, solve the puzzle and land when she can.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Been a couple of times where it's looked like she might make an impression, particularly with
Seconds
that
out.
left hook.
Round 7.
No, you're right. Laura Payne's she's never had any problems. She's been on top right from the start, and she's dominated the fight. And what Achieng's done well is she's provided a burst when she's needed to. So Payne has never been able to get completely on top of her for a sustained period, and I think that's what you would need to get a stoppage against somebody like her, is pressure where there isn't really much coming back, and a kind of a volume stoppage where the referee jumps in because it's a bit too one-sided. But she's always managed to just find something to literally fight back when she's needed to.
You're right when you say, Andy, but the jab is just a kind of pawing rangefinder, isn't it? She's so desperate, Laura Payne, to land that right hand, and everything is sort of building towards that moment, you sense. And to be fair, Achieng has got those long arms, so not necessarily easy to out-jab or straightforward.
No, physically, for a super flyweight, I mean, she's massive, isn't she, to be honest?
Again, you see that sort of spirited retaliation from Achieng, but not really landing, not really troubling Laura Payne. Oh, clipped her with the right hand. Probably more off balance than anything else. She slightly rocked back on her heels and she was trying to retreat and get out of there. But an eye-catching moment again for Payne.
She landed a good right hand into the body just before that, where she opened her out and rather go up top with that right hand, she just sunk it in below the armpit. And I wonder if she'd invested in the body a bit more, maybe that could have taken the gas out of Achieng, but I don't think we want to be too critical of Laura Payne here. Good right hand there as we head into the final few seconds. She's worked as hard as she possibly could to find the gaps, and there have been gaps at times, but Achieng definitely takes a good punch.
Yeah, I think she does. And she's landed a chunk of those right hands. I mean, you could see she's looking to land it, and she is landing it again and again and again. What she did do quite well in one of those exchanges is she threw the combination. There was a left hook off the big right hand, and actually that really worked.
Corners, 10 seconds. Seconds out. 8th and final round.
So here we are then into the 8th and final round. Sort of uncharted territory in so many ways for Laura Payne, getting on the telly into 7 and 8 rounds for the first time in her career. And it's the first fight since last October as well. She was due to be on the February show, but unfortunately that one fell through for her. So she's had to wait and wait, and 6 months, long time to be out of the ring, Andy. I think she's acquitted herself really well anyway, but particularly given that backdrop.
And there's that right hand to the body again there.
Yeah, I think Will Jones was telling her she's going to let her hands go, and I think we're going to see that in this last couple of minutes.
And she's having good joy with that right hand now, basically because Achieng is circling away to her left, and she's just leaving that door open for her to take that exit, then stepping in and cutting it off, and she just moves onto that right hand naturally when she does that.
Yeah, and I think watching back on this, the right hands work beautifully. The left hook has been good as well. I suppose sometimes maybe just a bit more off the left hand, off the right hand, I should say, and a sort of follow up second or third in the combination. So maybe just working those combinations a bit more, but she's thrown a lot of punches. She's landed plenty and some really significant signature shots for her throughout these 8 rounds.
And the kind of heat she's bringing in this final round now, this is, I think, absolutely what you need if you're going to get a stoppage against somebody like this, because she has got a good chin. And as I mentioned before, I think it would need to be that kind of volume stoppage where you're right on top of your opponent and there's just not enough coming back. So maybe if Will Jones had let her off the leash a round earlier and she could have sustained this for 2 rounds, we could have seen it, but we don't want to get too obsessed by it, because like you say, that was a good performance. That's 8 very solid rounds under her belt after a frustrating period out, so I think they'll be very happy.
Absolutely. Mission accomplished and loads of boxes ticked. It's pretty much one-way traffic. Great credit to Achieng. She was tough when she needed to be. She had that little spell in the middle rounds where she boxed and avoided any bother. But really, tonight was all about Laura Payne, wasn't it? Getting back out, getting in front of the TV cameras, getting a win, moving the career forward, and also, let's not forget, bedding in a new trainer relationship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That could take a bit of time, but as we said, there's that British super flyweight cycle here on Friday night. Emma Dolan and Lauren Parker, and Payne will be eyeing up the winner of that. I think you need to you need to try and keep moving, don't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, we go to the referee scorecard. The ringside referee scores the bout 79-73. And your winner, still undefeated, Laura the Punisher Payne!
Oh, there's a photo for the mantelpiece. Let's not forget the sponsors. Doing all of that. Got to pay the bills. Need the help. It's a hard grind, isn't it, for these boxers? But that's an important night for her, Andy.
Yeah, it is. It is. And she's going to be good to watch, isn't she?
And she will no doubt be having her eye on the British title fight that's going to be in this very ring. British and Commonwealth, I should say. And of course, we've got a Commonwealth title still to come in a few fights' time. Urshu against James, our top of the bill. And a world-rated Kevin Ajako before them as well. But mission accomplished for Laura Payne. Let's hear from her. She's with Ali.
We finally got you on a top-tier show. You had a fantastic fight, brilliant win. Just talk me through the performance.
Yeah, she was tough. Obviously, I've joined a new team, and I think, you know, we've been working on being spiteful, and I think that performance showed that. She was a tough girl. I believe I nearly had her out there a few times, but she was tough. I kept digging, but, you know, we've had a 3-week camp, me and my new team. Think of me in an 8-10 week camp. I believe I'll be stopping a lot of girls.
That's your first time going the 8-round distance. How did you find that side of it?
Yeah, it was absolutely fine. I'm fit anyway. Obviously, I do the hard work with my camp and with my trainers. So, yeah, grinding every day. So, I think I've done well. You know, I'm happy with that performance. As I say, she was a tough girl.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about what's next for you, stepping up in fights. The British title in your division is being fought in here next week, I think. Have you got your eyes on that kind of fight?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we're going to have our eyes on titles now. Obviously, I'll leave that to my coach and manager, Will, and he'll plan what's next. But I believe that he's got a plan for me, and, you know, we're here to take over the division. I think there's a lot of girls in it that I believe I'm levels above. I've got more spite than them. I believe I've got more resilience and more determination from a lot of them. You know, I've done it the hard way, and I believe that's going to show.
Well, it was a fantastic performance tonight. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.